Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News at 5.
And good evening, I'm Allison Wise.
And I'm Brandon Evans. Welcome to 4029 News at 5 o'clock. Let's start with a live look in the River Valley. It was kind of a quiet, peaks of sunshine coming through as we have a second day to a new year.
4029's Melissa Hall's in tonight for a Derby Bybee. So Melissa, how's it looking as some people are heading to wrap up their Thursday?
Well, it's very nice outside, Allison. Brandon, we've got sunshine, as you can see in this shot from Embassy Suites there in Rogers. Yeah, we got a little bit more cloud coverage than for the first day of January, but temperatures actually better than they were yesterday, thanks to that sunshine and some wind out of the south. We're in the upper 40s to low 50s in northwest Arkansas, a lot of mid 50s in the River Valley. Who can complain about that for January the 2nd, right? Running above average on those temperatures. Now, the difference is that wind out of the south coming ahead of a cold front, and this is cold front 1 of 2. And that second one, well, it's going to bring a big cool down. I'm going to tell you more about that in a few minutes.
And now we go to New Orleans as we take a live look at the French Quarter. Authorities believe the man who plowed a rented pickup truck into a crowd early on New Year's Day acted alone. They've called the suspect 100% inspired by the Islamic State. And federal and state officials say there's no additional threat to the public.
ABC's Morgan Norwood is in New Orleans with the latest on the investigation.
The FBI no longer believes other suspects are involved in the deadly truck ramming attack in New Orleans. The swift reversal after the FBI now says it combed through hours of surveillance video showing the moments it says the suspect sped down the jam-packed Bourbon Street, killing 14 and injuring dozens of others.
We've had 24 hours now to go through media, to go through phones, to interview people, to analyze those videos. We're confident at this point that there is no accomplices.
Shamsuddin Jabbar was killed in a shootout with police. The FBI now says the U.S.-born 42-year-old Army veteran drove from Houston to New Orleans New Year's Eve and posted several videos online proclaiming his support for ISIS, an ISIS flag recovered from the back of his pickup truck.
Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers, end quote.
The area where the attack happened now washed clean. Louisiana's governor saying with the influx of law enforcement, New Orleans is now one of the safest places on earth and ready for the Sugar Bowl, postponed from yesterday.
We're going to have us a Sugar Bowl. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to keep those, who have lost loved ones in mind. And we're going to get on to the business of this city and this great country.
And the FBI says it is searching a home they believe is connected to Jabbar. They also say they've spoken with several people close to that suspect. They're urging anyone else with information to come forward. Meanwhile, Louisiana's governor insisting that the city of New Orleans is safe and that there is security in and around the Superdome ahead of the Sugar Bowl. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New Orleans.
So mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, family and friends, they're sharing memories of the 14 people killed in that terror attack in New Orleans. This includes an aspiring nurse, a single mother. Other stories include Kathy and Louis Tenedorio, who say that they were worried about their 25-year-old son Matthew going to Bourbon Street.
All I could do was just hug him and tell him, I love you, Happy New Year, please text me when you get home. And that text never came.
In addition to the 14 victims killed, there are several others still in the hospital. One is a University of Georgia student in critical condition, as well as a man who was thrown off his wheelchair.
Tonight, we'll have a closer look at the suspect. 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar is an Army veteran and a U.S.-born citizen from Texas. He served in Afghanistan more than a decade ago. As the investigation continues, the top priorities of authorities will be to find out what, if any, ties are there to ISIS, after authorities called Jabbar 100% inspired by the Islamic State, as well as the assault-style rifle and a handgun recovered from the scene, and the multiple IEDs found in the vehicle and other places in the French Quarter. And across the country and here at home, safety's on the top of a lot of people's minds after this tragedy, with big sporting events drawing large crowds in Fayetteville. The University of Arkansas's police department said they've been constantly updating their plans. The women's basketball team plays LSU at home in Bud Walton tonight, and police say safety plans vary from event to event, but there are officers stationed around the venue, a centralized command post, and barricades that will be up to direct traffic.
So earlier today, Cole Jester was sworn in as Arkansas's new Secretary of State. He was appointed by the governor to replace former Secretary of State John Thurston. Thurston was officially sworn in as the state's new treasurer. All right, so a new mayor took office today in Fayetteville, the city's first in 16 years.
That's right, and Jacob Murphy was there when she was sworn in.
Well, Mayor Molly Ron is the third female mayor elected here in Fayetteville, but she's the first since 1987.
In the city of Fayetteville.
Also just a bit of witnessing history, so that's really awesome.
It's a historic move in bringing about a change of women leadership.
Molly Ron was sworn into office today.
The day after the runoff election, immediately started planning for transition and moving forward.
Becoming the first female mayor since 1987 in a city.
The city of Fayetteville has always been the center of progress.
That values community.
It is a very civically engaged community. A lot of people do show up to City Hall to see people get sworn in to hold public office.
So Fayetteville turns a page.
With Mayor Jordan and now Mayor Ron, that progress now continues.
And the new chapter begins.
It really is a time for us to come together, set aside differences that we may have had in the campaign, and really move forward as one.
The new mayor says that she plans to focus on both the infrastructure and housing throughout the city, and that she plans to hire somebody that will strictly focus on improving the housing. In Fayetteville, Jacob Murphy, 4029 News.
Live look outside right now. The sun's disappeared behind the clouds, but overall it's been nice and quiet for us. And with that, we'll get to meteorologist Melissa Hall joining us tonight here for Darby.
So Melissa, anybody out and about tonight? Maybe they have an early morning commute tomorrow. Just how cold is it going to be?
Well, it's not going to be too bad overnight tonight, but we are in for some really chilly conditions coming our way. That doesn't happen until this weekend, though. We're pretty seasonal right now. In fact, running warmer than we were 24 hours ago. Everybody is 6, 7, 8, 9 degrees warmer than yesterday. And while we had a little bit more cloud coverage, as you take a live look from Arkansas Children's Hospital Northwest, that sun getting ready to set in the next 10 minutes. You can already see some of those beautiful colors popping across the area, but there's big changes coming our way. We've got a little light breeze coming in out of the south. Now, don't get used to that, because the front that's moving through that's going to bring some cooler conditions for us. Well, it's also brought that southerly breeze, but behind it, we're going to have that wind out of the north. And unfortunately, this isn't even as cool as it's going to get tomorrow. Very similar to today. Afternoon highs a little cooler, but we have daytime highs that won't get above freezing for many of us. I'm going to tell you when to expect that second cold front that does that here in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Melissa. Well, LIHEAP Energy Assistance applications, they open Monday, January 6th for qualifying families. Now, you can apply for regular assistance to get a credit amount or crisis assistance if your electricity, gas, or propane delivery is shut off. You can go to LIHEAP.org to find the local agency that serves your county and get an application. Now, in the River Valley, whenever temperatures are at or below freezing, Hope Campus, well, they open up overnight emergency shelters. This is for anyone 18 or older who needs a warm bed. Now, you're asked to check in by 5. Hope Campus also offers free meals to anyone in need. And the Salvation Army in Northwest Arkansas preparing for freezing temps with expanded cold weather shelters. Shelters open nightly 6 p.m. and will stay open if temperatures drop below 32 degrees for at least an hour. Guests need an ID for check-in and receive meals, bedding, and warm clothing.
We are equipped to handle cold weather without volunteers, but we always have volunteers that come and help serve dinner, and that is something that we are incredibly grateful for.
So they say they've prepared 36 additional beds in Bentonville, 20 in Fayetteville, so if the beds do fill up, Salvation Army says it works with local groups to ensure that everyone has a place to stay. Well, don't let yourself or your vehicle be caught by surprise this winter. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to help you get the facts on winterizing your vehicle. It's also Fire Prevention Month. Safety certainly top of mind.
Space heaters, they can be tricky.
Coming up, safety tips from Springdale Fire. to those who use space heaters during these cold winter months.
A new Congress begins tomorrow. I'm Christopher Salas in Washington with their first order of business, electing a Speaker of the House.